Yeah. Pro Fan Sports Podcast. Let's get it. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam. Sean on the mic, very flat too. Keep you updated, that's what we do. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Pro fans, tune into the program. Every single week, get the dope, fam.
Yo, what it do, everybody? It's your boy John Altidor back at you with my brothers Vlad and Barry. What's good with y'all fellas? How y'all doing?
What's up, everybody? What's going on?
Hey, what's up, fellas? How's it going? How we living?
We're living good, man. Episode 12 is on and popping. Let's get it. Before we actually say anything on this podcast, I just wanted to take a second and pay my respects to old number 87 on the Patriots, Rashae Caldwell. News just broke out this morning that he has passed away, due to a robbery. And the story is that the guys jumped out of the bushes or something like that and shot him in his home. And he died on the way to the hospital in the ambulance. So rest in peace to him, man. When he was on the Patriots, I know he wasn't the most loved Patriots because, he had some key drops, at times. But at the same time, I felt like he was a good guy. He was a stand-up kid, and, I just wanted to pay my respects to him and say rest in peace to him and condolences to his family. Moving on. Just so you guys know, we wanted to thank all the people that are emailing the show, sending us questions to be part of the show. And if you'd like to be part of the show, you can email us because we want to do that segment. So please email any questions you would like us to discuss on the show. We will read one email on each show and shout out a listener. And shout outs to everybody that's been sending questions. And you can also support the podcast. Click on the support link on the website, and it just helps us improve the podcast. Also, you can help us by following us on social media. We are on Instagram, profans_sports. We're on Twitter.com/profansports, Facebook/profansports, and we are also on YouTube. So if you're not a person that, is able to sit there and listen and you like to watch better than listening, you like to watch and listen at the same time, you can catch us on YouTube also. It's youtube.com/profansports. We drop episodes every Tuesday morning, and the videos go out every Wednesday morning, thanks to our guy Vlad right here. So let's get going, man. Also, before we started the show, I wanted to check in with you guys just based on everything that's been going on, the climate of the country, the whole situation that's going on right now. I don't know. I don't think I have to explain to our listeners what's going on, with the whole George Floyd, his murder, and that has ignited the protests in the country, everywhere. They said that there's been protests in every state in the United States, and it is officially the biggest protest movement in the United States history. So something's really going on, and it actually affects all three of us here on this show at Pro Fan Sports Podcast. And I just wanted to check with you guys on how your week's been. Have you noticed anything different? Do you have any different feelings towards what's going on? And, for you, what do you look towards the future?
It's been a long week. I participated in a protest this week. Been, posting on social media. I think it still weighs heavy on me. It hasn't changed too much. I feel as though every day it's been more protests, and it's also unclear what the future holds. I'm not sure exactly what is going to come out of everything that's been happening. I think one of the good things that happened is that they arrested all 4 cops that were involved in George Floyd's murder. All of them were charged with murder, and also the guy that had his knee on his neck got charged from 3rd-degree to 2nd-degree murder, which is a good thing. So I think those are all good things happening. And this week is just anything you jump on social media. Anytime you jump on social media, it's been more and more protests, more and more people having discussions about it. So it's really no way to escape it. Not that I'm trying to escape it, but I'm just saying it almost engulfs you. You know what I mean? So my feelings hasn't really changed. I still feel the burning of what's going on. I still feel overwhelmed by it.
Yeah, Barry, how you feeling?
Feeling about the same, pretty much as last week. I don't think, too much has really changed. So at this point, it's still, the early stages of the movement that, is going on right now. So I think it's going to take a while for me to feel differently or to see some sort of changes occur. I think we are heading in the right direction with all these protests and peaceful, for the most part, peaceful gatherings that have transpired over the past week. So it's definitely good to see that, and it's good to see that the 4 officers have been charged and arrested and are being held accountable for the death of George Floyd and in killing him. So I'm glad to hear of that as well. So I think that I've tried to do what I can as far as posting a lot on social media and being vocal about it and getting my voice out there, and even attending a protest. I was at one in Medford this week, so that was a peaceful gathering that they had. So that was definitely, and it was a good turnout as well. So it was a good way to start getting things to to change and getting things to go in the right direction, and then bringing people together and having everyone be on the same page when it comes to this movement. So I was very happy to see that, since I'm born and raised in Medford. So it was definitely made me proud to see that my own city is actually doing something and participating in the movement, and being active about it, and people want to get their voices out there, and want to be heard, and want to see things change for the better.
I think I have some of the same feelings that you guys have, like where I don't think where we're supposed to be yet, but I definitely felt different this week as far as being a black man in America, especially where I live at. I currently live in Arlington, Mass, and things have been pretty, well, I can't say like too different, but like me personally, it's been different for me. Just walking around the town, first of all, shout out to Arlington, man, because the history in Arlington is not a good one when it comes to black people. So for them to be out there protesting for what was like 4 days straight, the Arlington Center was just filled with, people, and I was out there protesting too, and I can tell you it was, I can say 90% white people, and what I did notice is even more what I noticed is how much of the young people are out there. There's like really young people, trying to put a voice behind this and making their voice heard, just basically telling us that they're tired of the situation. They're young, they don't know a lot of this stuff that went on, and I feel like the more the years progress, the more people are intertwined together, and the more we're gonna see support for stuff like this because people are just tired of it. Because it's like for the young people, they're all hanging out together in schools. You know, they're hanging out. They're all in the same groups and stuff like that. So they don't see a lot of the stuff that us as older people did see or did experience. You know, because I feel like some of my experiences are gonna be different than some dude that's in high school right now. You know, so it's different for them, and they're just like, what the fuck is this? You know, like, why are we, like, cut the bullshit, you know? And what I was saying as far as, like, me feeling different is I felt like more people here have noticed me since I've moved into Arlington than ever before. You know, I've had several neighbors just talk to me. One of my neighbors actually left a note here for myself and my daughter because she saw me holding a protesting sign. And my sign says, I'm not okay. And her letter to me was that she actually penned it to my daughter, and she said to the little girl holding the I'm not okay sign, I just want you to know whatever you need, me and my husband are here for you whenever, and that goes to you and your family. And she wrote her address on the paper. And I don't know if you guys know, but white women in America don't just give black dudes their addresses like that.
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Like, you know, not even trying to be funny, you know, that's not something that happens. You know, usually, in my thoughts, it's like they're fearing us most of the time, right? And I've definitely felt a change. You know, I've seen a lot of white guys actually acknowledging the fact that I'm here. You know what I'm saying? It's different, and I think we have a long time to go. But I'm definitely glad to see everything that's going on with the protest. You know, it's global now. You know, I'm glad to see all the people coming together, and I'm glad to see people are just like, you know, with the current administration, they're kind of fed up. You know, as far as the people that I've spoken to anyway. So, like you guys said, I don't think, you know, it hasn't changed everything in 2 weeks, but it definitely feels something different is happening. As far as, you know, there's been protests before. There's been lots of protests before, but this one kind of feels different. You know, and I can say that for myself, and I don't know if that's the same for you guys.
No, it's definitely more worldwide. A lot more people are paying attention. I feel as though protests were happening in Japan, protests were happening in Jamaica, protests were happening, you know, all over the world, really, in Germany, you know what I mean? So I feel as though it's definitely getting a lot more recognition, and a lot more people are participating, and people that weren't being held accountable are being held accountable. I have white friends that I've talked to that are having difficulties getting to their parents.
To their families.
I have Asian friends that talk to me about difficulty getting to their parents. So I feel as though everybody's trying to everybody's trying to be as accountable as they can be to make conversations happen around this issue,
Right.
Which I really appreciate, and I appreciate the friends that I have that I've seen that are taking these steps to make this conversation happen. They're really hard conversations, and I big up anybody trying to have these conversations, and you know, and I would say let's keep fighting. You know, Breonna Taylor's murderers are still out there.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of other people that were murdered, and the murderers are still out there. So I think, as it's good that George Floyd's the people that were involved in George Floyd's murder and the people that killed him got arrested. But I think there's so much more that needs to be done. And I feel as though the conversation is going so many different places, going to let's not have cops anymore, you know what I mean? So
I've seen that too.
Oh yeah.
The conversation is happening from, it's a very institutionalized conversation. Like, what about the institution that needs to be changed? So I feel as though the conversation is getting a lot deeper and a lot more action oriented, and I like that. So let's keep it going. As of right now, I feel as though the future is still unclear, but I feel as though we are going through the pain right now so that change can happen. No change can happen without any pain happening. So I think as painful as this year has been, and it has been a painful year, but I think it will be very instrumental into what the future looks like.
Well said, Vlad.
Yeah, for sure. And with that, I just wanted to say one thing. Sorry to cut you off, John. Is that a thing that I've been noticing and that I've actually kind of liked and appreciated is that I've been getting a lot of text messages and message on social media, from my white friends that I currently still talk to often, or even people that I haven't talked to in a while. They've pretty much reached out to me and they showed me love and support and saying that they stand by me and that they support me and that they value me in my life and that they appreciate me and that they feel my pain and and understand of of what the black community is going through as of right now. So it was definitely nice and pretty awesome to have multiple people reach out to me and give their their sympathy and then show me that love and support that is needed at this tough, extremely difficult and tough time that we're going through, because I don't think we've, like you guys said, we've seen protests before, many different protests in our lives, but I feel like it's not to this extent, and this one's much more powerful and much more impactful, because it's not only impacting this country, like you said, it's impacting the whole world. Like the whole world is protesting against this movement, protesting about this movement, and really getting their voices out there and letting the world know how they feel about this. So which is definitely much appreciated. I'm glad that other countries are doing these protests as we are, and it's definitely been a great thing to see, and I hope we continue to see that moving forward, and I hope that more and more people continue to reach out to me. But I definitely want to thank those who did reach out to me this past week, and definitely I'll certainly keep that dear in my heart, and I'll definitely continue to keep fighting and keep and keep this going and keep doing what my part to be a vocal leader and be someone who is behind this movement and behind being on the right side of history.
Yeah, man. This thing has definitely affected everything. It's definitely affected everything down to, of course, our sports. And I think a lot of this stuff, with the protesting and sports had been put on notice a few years ago with Colin Kaepernick. When he started his movement of kneeling peacefully during the national anthem, and he got a lot of backlash for it. And this week, I feel like he kind of had a victory, some sort, as far as people coming out, the NFL. Before we talked about that, something else did happen that was really controversial, which put him even more in the spotlight now with Drew Brees' comments. I know you guys watch sports, and I know you guys have been watching that. And so for the people that don't know, Drew Brees was on a segment for Yahoo Finance, and they asked him about his position on the kneeling during the national anthem. And in I don't know what you would call that, in like a tone deaf moment for Drew Brees, he kind of like doubled down on the fact that he can never kneel for the national anthem, that he feels that anybody kneeling during the national anthem is disrespectful to the flag, and that when he thinks about the national anthem and the flag, he remembers his two grandfathers that fought in the wars, and that kind of like brings tears to his eyes. And he faced a lot of backlash, man. A lot of the players came out, including his teammates, Michael Thomas, Malcolm Jenkins, Emmanuel Sanders. They made public comments about him, just basically saying that they wasn't with that. And Drew Brees, he met a lot of vitriol. A lot of people were upset, because they felt like he was being insensitive to what was going on at this time, and he actually had to issue an apology, right? And so with that apology, that prompted Donald Trump to actually tweet about Drew Brees, stating that, he's one of the greatest ever, but he shouldn't have apologized for his opinion on people kneeling during the flag, and, in Donald Trump fashion, also added his own thing, no kneeling during the flag, things like that. And Drew Brees actually came back at Donald Trump. And this is what he wrote. Through my ongoing conversations with friends, teammates, and leaders in the black community, I realize this is not an issue about about the American flag. It has never been. We can no longer use the flag to turn people away or distract them from the real issues that face our black communities. We did this back in 2017, and regretfully, I brought it back with my comments this week. We must stop talking about the flag and shift our attention to the real issues of systemic racial injustice, economic oppression, police brutality, and judicial and prison reform. We are at a critical juncture in our nation's history. If not now, then basically when? How'd you guys feel about that when you saw it? Your initial reaction to it, Vlad?
Well, I don't know if my reaction can be nothing but like everybody else. If you haven't seen the whole Drew Brees thing, you must have been living under a rock, because it definitely took over. I think from like Tuesday or Wednesday on, it took over a lot of the conversation that were happening about the issue. And I think, obviously Drew Brees put his foot in his mouth. That's how I felt. I felt as though he was very insensitive, and for a guy that I actually like, I think he's one of the quarterbacks that I felt as though it's very human, very relatable. So I really did not expect that from him. So when I heard that, I was very disappointed. That's something he shouldn't have said. He missed the mark on that. He did not understand exactly what people were going through, and it was beautiful, the amount of people that came out against him. Not only his teammates, not only football players came out against him, but basketball players came out against him. All the sports media, Stephen A. Smith, all those guys came out against him. So I thought it was good. And one thing that I saw, which I liked, was Tony Dungy came out and said that it's actually good that Drew Brees said what he said, because the conversation needs to go there. The conversation needs to go places where we need to have conversation with people that don't have the same ideology as us, so that we can change their minds. And in a matter of less than 24 hours, Drew Brees got hit with the most backlash he's ever faced, and he had to change his mind right away. He had to go back and think about what he said and think about the reason why people are protesting. I thought it was really powerful. I'm not saying, I don't know if Drew Brees' ideology about the world changed automatically, but he had to step back and really think about what he said, think about why black people are protesting, think about why Kaepernick kneel, and think about the whole issue in its whole. And I think people like Drew Brees that represent the NFL is the reason why Kaepernick got blackballed.
Yes.
Blackballed. Because if Drew Brees, one of the face of the NFL, had stood up with Kaepernick, it would have been a whole different conversation 2 years ago. And
Absolutely.
And it also tells you that if the NFL had given Kaepernick the space to speak up 2 years ago, I'm not saying George Floyd wouldn't have died, but some of the conversations that we are having today could have happened 2 years ago. But the NFL, instead of creating that safe space for Drew Brees, for Kaepernick to have this conversation, they shut it down real quick, and now look where we are.
Well, they wanted to pander to the fucking president.
Yeah.
You know, they were afraid of what the fucking president was gonna tweet, the fucking asshole. So, you know,
for real.
hey, let's, ruin a man's career and blackball him because of fucking retarded dudes in the fucking office, you know what I'm saying? Excuse my language, because, retarded is not a nice word. But, this is how you felt, and during the whole situation, him calling everybody sons of bitches. It's like, bro, are you joking? The guy is literally kneeling down. Like, I don't understand what the issue is, and I think that, like Vlad was saying, these are the things we needed to talk about back then. Why are all these people kneeling? Why is this group of people, why do they feel Colin Kaepernick and this group doesn't? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they, I do understand making money, and the NFL is a brand that is supported by a lot of white people, a lot of white Southerners, a lot of old white people that are buying the tickets and all that stuff. So they want to save their brand. They want to pretty much cater to the crowd, which is what Donald Trump does. And, it's basically what they fell on. They're like, hey, let's not upset the people that are giving us, all this money, acting like other people don't have money, so let's just blackball this dude, Did you want to add anything to that, Barry?
Yeah, I wanted to, say,
yeah,
give my thoughts and say what my reactions, were when I first saw the, Drew Brees comments in that interview with Yahoo Finance. They're similar to, what you guys you have previously just stated. I was appalled and stunned when I at first heard him say that, and I couldn't believe it that out of all people, him would come out and say those kinds of comments and those and the things that he said. And this is from a guy that I not only like, but I respected, and it was actually a fan of, and I even actually have his jersey. Not anymore now, but I did have.
Would you do burn it?
No, I didn't burn it. I got rid of it, and
Wait, did you get rid of it because of this situation?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I absolutely. Oh yeah.
Wow.
No, they definitely. Yeah, I most certainly got rid of it due to what he had said during the interview this week. He was. We always thought of him as a first-class guy. One of the classier guys in the league. One of the more humble guys in the league, and a guy that played the game the right way, and also always did the right things off the field as well, and was a man of integrity. That's what prior to this incident, that's how I always viewed him and thought of him as not only as a player but as a person. I thought he was a good, genuine, kind-hearted person.
Clean cut.
Right, facts, exactly. And then this just completely, changed my mind about him to the point where, I had to get rid of his jersey, and, I definitely feel the same way as all those people who had, backlash and ripped him this week, feel, and I'm glad that they did that. So definitely shout out to all of those, players and, media people who, came at Drew Brees and who, eject him and put him in his place because he definitely, deserved that to happen after, saying what he said, and it was unfortunate and insensitive and unnecessary for him to say that he was acting as if his black people also weren't in the army and also weren't fighting for the country along with his parents, as if it was just all white people that were fighting for the country. There were clearly also blacks that were fighting for the country just as much as his grandparents when it was their time, and then they served in the army, and he clearly wasn't getting the big picture here and wasn't getting the main purpose and point of why people are protesting and why and why these protests have been transpiring over the last couple weeks, and why Kaepernick did what he did, and so I'm glad he finally gets it now after being properly informed by other people of why all these things are happening and why Kaepernick did what he did a couple years ago, which to me is still fucked up by how the NFL treated him, and I don't give a damn that Roger Goodell finally admitted that he was wrong. I know we want to talk a little bit about that for the show, but I briefly just wanted to mention that, that apology, that sorry ass apology, that Goodell, that's too little, too late. You should have said that a couple years ago. Where was you at, bro, when Kaepernick was doing that, and then you try to diminish him and you try to make him a scapegoat and demoralize him and his career and put him down. They've always talked down to people Kaepernick who tried to do something right to bring an issue to society's attention, and it's just it's ridiculous and it's bullshit that that the league has always done that to those kinds of players who have who try to make a change and a difference in society and try to make it a better place for everyone. So and I don't really care too much about Drew Brees' apology. I mean, I'm glad that he apologized and admitted and we're glad that he at least acknowledged that he was wrong about what he said and how that affected people and why everyone felt some type of way about it. But I mean, at that point, the damage is already done. We already know how you feel, and we already you said enough to the point that it's okay, even with you apologizing, what difference does it really make? It was apology that I knew the minute that I saw that video he was gonna have to, just because from a PR standpoint, and he didn't want to lose the locker room and the players that he's gonna have to play with during the season. He wanted to at least do something to kind of regain their respect and regain their trust, even though that's obviously gonna take a while, because I don't think one apology is gonna do that. But he wanted to at least start and have that go in the right direction. direction and at least be able to, be more sensitive to, to his teammates, even though I still think, that it's not going to work. But I mean, we'll see what happens, as the season comes along, and I'll definitely be following that as as well, because that's definitely going to be an interesting thing. Is how is this going to affect the relationship that he's going to have with his teammates who are African American.
Word, I agree with that, man. I saw his comments. At first, I didn't really pay too much attention to it. I didn't really like what is he talking about? Like I thought this was like a thing from like a couple years ago, because we're going through this situation right now, and I'm thinking to myself, like, there's no way like he's saying this shit right now. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, this week, like it's been 2 weeks of protesting. Like I just didn't get it. I'm like, or like how are you dumb? You know what I'm saying? It's like
Right.
And then I really heard his comments, and I just thought they were ignorant, man. It's like, bro, you're really not thinking, It's like, I was watching Undisputed, and Shannon Sharp made this, he said this metaphor, and I think that applies to majority of the country. He said, what he said was, the blindest man isn't the man that can't see. No, he said, the man that can't see isn't the blindest. It's the man that chooses not to see. You know what I'm saying? And like that stuck with me. I even like posted that as a status, and that stuck with me because it's like, bro, there's no way you can't see what the hell is going on right now. You're choosing not to actually listen to it, pay attention, and comprehend what the fuck is going on right now, because there's no way you see that George Floyd murder and not connect that back to Colin Kaepernick. There's no way you don't do that. And it's like, that's the exact same thing. Like, and for the guy to kneel on the guy's neck, when Colin Kaepernick was taking a knee, is like, bro, if you can't put those two and two together, I'm like, you're one of the smartest quarterbacks. How do you not put those two together? I was glad that his teammates actually came out and said something about it, because a lot of the quarterbacks in this league sometimes are like untouchable. You can't really say too much about them. Like Tom Brady's a god to everybody. But even he hasn't said anything about this situation either, which I feel like is pretty lacking as one of the faces of the NFL. It's like, bro, you're Tom Brady, man. I know you put up your little black screen or whatever on Blackout Tuesday, but your wife is Brazilian, half your kids are Brazilian, and, these people get marginalized too. And if you're not speaking up, I don't know what you're doing, But I definitely felt that Drew Brees coming out with that apology was a good thing. My thing is, like, people do make mistakes. This was a really terrible mistake because
it was a pretty big.
That was really ill-advised and stupid.
Right.
People make mistakes, so we're not gonna hold them to that forever. But at the same time, you gotta understand, like, you gotta really understand some people and their mindset. And like some people are saying in the media, it's good that we got to hear that because we see what's really behind the lens. Quarterback like Jake Fromm said some stupid shit this week too, right? Like the text messages came out. He said some shit about
white power or something.
No, he said
Elite
something
white
about
people,
guns should be made really expensive and it should only be owned by elite white people, which is like, it's telling you something. It's like, that's their mindset. What are you saying? Like, black people can't own guns? Like, last I checked, we all have Second Amendment rights. It's like, I don't understand that logic, So you're saying just because your skin color, you should be able to have this when I'm not able to have this. You know what I'm saying?
Right, doesn't make any sense. Yeah.
It's one of those. It's the time in our lives, man, when a lot of things, people are really analyzing some of the things. You know, I think a lot of white people are starting to like see between the lines of certain things. You know, with the lady calling the cops and that bird watcher guy, everybody's like, that's what they've been talking about this whole time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
For that lady to say an African American male was threatening my life, it's like, all right, we understand what the hell these people have been saying this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you're saying my skin color is a freaking threat, so the police people can come here and do whatever they do, and we know what they do.
The way she said it too, it's like she's calling the cops and saying the African American. She kept mentioning that. The way she said it, it's basically calling the cops to do exactly what they did to George Floyd like that.
Exactly. She's trying to set him up. Exactly.
I couldn't help but connect the two.
Nah, it's
of course.
The exact same shit. Because had the police came, and she's a white woman, and she already dropped African American, and we know in every case, you know, who did this? Oh, it was 2 African American males, you know? Like, every crime scene, you know, you fit the description and all that shit. It's always some African American dude, you know, and it's in the back of everybody's minds. It's in the back of their minds. And it really tells you what they think when we're walking on the streets and we're next to them and stuff like that. You know, I've walked behind a lot of white people that have crossed the street before. It's like, I don't think they understand things like that, you know? I think they have a difficult time understanding what this situation is about as far as like the protest. And I think Drew Brees just illustrated that for you perfectly, right? And
I think that's why it's important that, you know, I mean, it's almost weird because you wanna make space for those dumb people to come out and say dumb shit.
You do.
So that you can call them out. You know what I mean? So, because if we never have the opportunity to call them out, they're always gonna have those conversations.
The same mindset.
Right. Things aren't gonna change. Exactly.
They're always gonna be able to have those conversations behind closed doors. Like if you look at somebody like Donald Sterling, he was having those conversations behind closed doors all the time. But somebody had to record what he was saying so that we can have those conversations so that he could get kicked out of the NBA. Unfortunately, that's where we are. We are at a point where we need to all those racist people to come out to say dumb shit for us to call them out. You know, when Drew Brees first said it, I was like, oh yeah, fuck Drew Brees. Drew Brees is out. And then he came out the next day and apologized. And I didn't want to take it. I was like, yo, fuck you. You said that shit yesterday. Today you coming out and apologizing.
Oh, you learned all that stuff in
24 hours. One day, exactly. Just because you were getting so much heat from it, exactly.
And then I saw all his teammates, you know, coming out and saying, hey, I believe my brother fucked up or whatever.
Yeah.
I wanna
move
forgive
forward.
him and move forward. Which I completely understand. I think, you know, an issue pops up, we address it, let's move forward together. And I think we should give Drew Brees a chance to redeem himself. You know?
Don't get it twisted though. Drew Brees has done a lot for his community. You know, he's done a lot for the game. He's done a lot for you know, just the black people period in that area, as far as he's been there since Katrina, you know. So even before then, you know, and he had a huge helping hand in rebuilding that city, and that's great. So I don't want that, what he said, to take away from everything that he did. But at the same time, just because he did that doesn't mean, you know, we can't come at him for exactly what he said.
Exactly. And hold him accountable.
You know,
exactly.
Be able to hold people accountable, like Barry is saying, because you can't think like that anymore. The direction we're trying to go is to eviscerate things like that. When somebody's talking and they're telling you they're going through some shit, pay attention and fucking listen. You know what I'm saying? Like, people shouldn't have to, you know, gather up like this. The world is watching, man. The world is freaking watching. And people shouldn't have to gather up like this to do something that's right. And that's what it comes down to. You know, and another thing Drew Brees did, you know, with the whole Donald Trump tweet, he came back at Donald Trump and pretty much told Donald Trump, like, this shit ain't about the flag. You know? And I think that was big.
That was big
for him.
Right.
Was big.
You know,
I'll give him credit on that.
as much as I didn't want to accept his apology, when he came out he came on and apologized. Donald Trump said, you shouldn't have apologized. And then he came out and said, hey, Donald Trump, I'm addressing you specifically.
Mm-hmm.
That gained my respect. I was like, wow.
Right. No, I did like that.
Because he could have stayed quiet, or he could have not actually addressed the president specifically.
Exactly.
Or he specifically addressed the president, which I give him respect for that. And like I said, I think Drew Brees is a great guy. I think he definitely fucked up this week. And I'm not forgetting it already. I'm ready to move forward and make things better, but I'm not gonna forget what Drew Brees said and how he felt doing in the midst of protesting. While he not only that he had his whole life to learn what black people have been through and why they're protesting, but he also had a week and a half to learn why people are protesting, and he still came on and said the dumb shit he said.
Bro,
so I'm not forgetting. I'm not forgetting at all what he said. But I'm ready. I am ready to move forward and make things better.
Yeah, the other thing too, man, you've been playing with black players
Your
whole goddamn life, bro. Like
your whole freaking career, exactly.
I don't know, man. I listened to Pat McAfee, and you know he had a lot of good things to say, and
I love Pat.
I really like him, man.
Pat McAfee's that dude. He's that guy.
It's like he gets it.
Yeah,
you know, he'll say, "Dude, I'm the only guy that smoked blunts, you know, with dudes, and then had dinner with billionaires."
He has a show, like, as you guys know already, but for people that don't know, Pat McAfee has a radio show that he airs on YouTube, but it's also on the radio waves or whatever. And on Tuesday, he decided not to have a show at all.
Yep.
The Tuesday,
wow, really? He didn't do one this week?
No, he participated.
The Tuesday that everybody was putting out a blackout square on their social media, which is great. I understand the support, I understood the unity, but Pat McAfee took it another step. He decided I'm not even gonna do my show on Tuesday. So
that's awesome.
He blacked out his whole show, which not a lot of people agreed with. You know what I mean? I'm sure his sponsors might not have agreed with that, and also some of his listeners. Some of his listeners are white people that don't agree with him. Yep. So I'm sure he's losing a lot of listeners by doing that, but he did it anyways. I love Pat.
That's awesome. He's a real one for that. Big shout out to Pat McAfee.
I'm sure he lost fans, but I'm sure he's gained a lot more too.
Oh yeah.
Right. And you know, the fact that he does have that big audience, I feel like it's even more important for people like him to say stuff, because it's like
right, exactly.
These white dudes are gonna watch you. You know what I'm saying? And for somebody like that, you know, who a lot of people respect his thoughts and stuff like that, just to come out and just like rebuke this stuff. And he's been advocating and using his platform to create awareness, you know, just expressing his disdain for certain things, you know, I think it's great. You know, on top of the Brees thing, you know, we saw a lot of things happen in the NFL this week. You know, the last 2 weeks, you know, both the NFL MVP and defensive, what is it? The MVP, defensive player MVP, what is it?
Defensive player of the year?
Yes, for the NFL. Is there like a name for it?
No, it's called
just defensive player of the year.
I'm like, is that defensive MVP? Yeah. Stephon Gilmore, they all participated in this video that was broadcasted, you know, throughout social media everywhere. Just them talking about, you know, they're pretty much taking a stand, you know, for everything that's going on, and that Black Lives Matter, and that, you know, they basically spoke for the NFL before the NFL could speak for themselves. They're like, we're going to take charge, and we're going to put out this statement on behalf of the NFL as the players that are running this stuff. And for you to have the MVP of the league and the defensive player of the year in the same video, and one of the most polarizing players in Odell Beckham to finish it, that was powerful. And then that prompted the NFL to come out with their own statement, which Barry was saying earlier was fucking shitty. They did not mention anything about Colin Kaepernick. You know, I think that was Vlad actually. You know, they didn't mention the fact that they blackballed Colin Kaepernick. You know, and I felt like they were pretty much trying to save their brand now, right?
Well, I think so that video that the players put out actually started with Michael Thomas, is that his name?
Yeah, Michael Thomas.
Michael
Yeah,
Thomas and he's a teammate of Drew Brees, so I'm not sure if he put the video after Drew Brees said it or what, but I thought that was it was a really powerful video. And so the NFL came out this week, especially Roger Goodell, which Barry mentioned earlier, and they said they were wrong about Colin Kaepernick a couple years ago or 3-4 years ago, whenever it happened. And it's too little too late.
Oh,
It's too little too late,
Yeah.
man.
No.
The guy has lost his job. The guy he's no longer playing. He was a promising young quarterback. He lost his job. You guys shut him down. You guys listen to the president. You guys even changed the rules. Now there's a rule in the rule book saying you have to stand up for the anthem. So you guys made sure that this was never gonna happen again. And you guys were getting pressured by Donald Trump, and you listened to Donald Trump instead of listening to your players. Then the NFL fucked that up, and that is one company I'm definitely not ready to forgive. Fuck you guys. You guys definitely missed the mark on that.
Oh yeah, big time. Absolutely.
Yeah, I just wanted to also say this segment. We actually got a question from our boy Brandon Dennis, who's a real good friend of our boy Barry.
Yes, sir. That's my guy right there. That's my brother.
He's also a dope ass DJ. So
yep,
if you want to
DJ
follow
Big
him
Dog. Yes, yes.
You know, if you want to follow him on social media, Barry, what's his social media?
So his social media is DJ B Dog 617. So you can follow him on IG, and you can also follow him on Facebook. He does have a DJ Facebook page as well. So if you type in on Facebook DJ B Dog, you'll be able to.
You want to tell people how to spell it?
So yeah, it's DJ, and then BDAWG 617. That's his IG, and then his Facebook is just DJBDAWG. That's his DJ Facebook page, so you can follow him on either one of those platforms. And yeah, he's a really good DJ, really good and close friend of mine. I've known him for a while. We're childhood friends, so we're pretty tight. And yeah, he's a really good guy and a really good DJ. He does Club Quarantine every Friday night from 8 to 10 on Facebook, 8 to 10 p.m. on Facebook Live. So if you ever looking to hear some good music and some good vibes, while you're at home during this quarantine, you should definitely check that out on every Friday night.
Yeah, man. So shout outs to DJ B Dog, Brendan Dennis, his real name. And I just wanted to acknowledge that he did ask a question about Drew Brees, and I wanted to ask this question because I feel like it's relevant to what we were just talking about. And I feel like we just answered a lot of the questions that he asked. And his question this week, and again, thank you for sending in the question, was that knowing that Kaepernick was blackballed from the NFL with his peaceful protest during the national anthem, what kind of repercussions do you expect Brees to experience, since he not only disrespected the protest about inequality, but selfishly referring to his family that fought in the war to deflect the reason why they were all protesting in the first place? Keep in mind his family members fought alongside African Americans in those wars. And I felt like, throughout our conversation about Drew Brees, we answered a lot of those questions that he had. So I just wanted to make sure that we did ask this question.
I just want to say that I don't think Drew Brees is going to... he faced a lot of backlash this week.
Yeah.
But as far as, being blackballed like Kaepernick did or anything like that...
No.
Nothing like that.
He's not going to, lose his starting job or anything.
He's not going to lose any sponsor. He's not going to lose anything. Everything is fine with Drew Brees because, again, white privilege is real. I bet you... If it was a white man that was kneeling a couple years ago, it would have been a whole fucking total different conversation.
Can you imagine
time facts?
Can you imagine if Tom Brady took a knee, he
Wow.
would be a freaking god right now. If he was the first person to do that, just like Tim Tebow. He would be a freaking god right now, okay? And I don't think people...
Yeah, he is a god, but he even be more of a god.
They would talk about him like he was like the second coming of Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Like, straight up. And if you don't understand why you know, this is unfair, this is what we're saying. Like, if this had been anybody else, if this was a white player, this cause would be a lot different, you know? And this player would be on every news station. You know, they would sit there and talk to him about certain things. You know, he would get all the freaking spotlight, all the freaking sponsors. You know, I don't think Colin Kaepernick needs the NFL anymore because look at what he's done. You know, they will be writing about this dude in 100 years. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah,
like, he's going to be in the history books. You know, just
forever, right?
You know, what he said started, you know, it planted the seed. You know what I'm saying? It planted the seed for us. You know, it's like we can't stand for this. And he brought the attention to the issue. And people, you know, started paying more and more attention to it. And like you're saying, I definitely don't think Drew Brees would face any repercussion. You know, maybe during this season, you know, they might allow a couple sacks on him or something like that, you know. But we'll see how that works. But
that's well, there still might be some, like I was saying earlier, some disconnect between the relationship between him and his teammates.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? Still think that's not fully, you know, repaired just yet. But as far as like his actual like football career or his, you know, losing the starting job or any, you know, repercussions, you know, from that standpoint, then that's definitely not gonna happen. Jameis Winston isn't gonna come take the man's job or is a threat to, you know, Drew Brees being, you know, benched and on the sideline. Or I don't think also I've been hearing people say, oh, Drew Brees should retire after making those statements. He's not gonna retire after that. Like, come on, people, like, get that out of your head. Like, that is asinine and, you know, and absurd that people would say, oh, he should retire just because of those comments that he made this week. Like, that's not gonna happen. We all know damn well he's not leaving. He's leaving the league soon, but he's not gonna leave the league on that note. So
nope.
He'll be the starting quarterback of the New Orleans Saints, you know, for at least the next couple years since he just signed that new deal. And there definitely some defensive players will certainly be coming at him though, and will be coming with a vengeance and looking to put a good hit and deliver the boom, to say the least. Like, for example, week 1 when they play the Bucks, I'm sure Dominican Sue's gonna be coming for that ass and and then gonna be you know what I'm saying, looking to, you know what I'm saying, stick him real good and send a real powerful message to him and let him know what's up. I think that's definitely gonna be a very intriguing and appealing matchup that I will certainly be watching and having my eye on when I watch that game. You know, on week 1.
I was gonna say, Sue might take a knee on him, but
that's a good one. But
I might get a little hate for that one, but I don't care, to be honest.
Yeah, nah, man. Let's keep the D's away from people. You know, we could talk about this stuff forever, man. You know, and I just wanted to touch up on some other stuff involving the NFL. You know, involving this anyway. You know, players do plan to take a knee this season, so I'm curious to see what that looks like. And the last thing I wanted to mention was Jason Whitlock got fired this week, and from FS1. You know, if you guys know him, he has a lot of controversial takes, and I don't fucking like him. So I just wanted to actually mention it so I could say fuck you. You know, like, I respect everybody that works hard, but like, I don't respect anybody that's there to like tear people down, tear our people down, and that's what I don't like about him. You know, so we could have a whole segment because I know Barry wants to, you know, has some thoughts on him too. but we're not gonna give him that shine on our show.
Right, we'll leave that for another day, another episode.
Right.
Yeah.
I also know that he wants to break into the podcast world now, so we might have some Whitlock competition. But
wow, he's trying to get into podcasting like us. Wow.
We'll meet that head on when we get there. You know. So on to the NBA.
NBA.
Right? NBA.
Yes, the association.
There's some things going on in the NBA. There's a breakdown. Well, the NBA is coming back, first of all.
Yes,
right. The NBA
finally.
is back, and it's coming back in July, right? So, Vlad, I believe to just give us a breakdown on that.
Sure. So I believe the NBA is coming back July 31st.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a date that they've set. It could move, but there's most likely will be July 31st. But anyways, the NBA and their Players Association agreed on a 22-team format, a 22-team playoff format, basically. So it's 13 teams from the Western Conference and 9 teams from the Eastern Conference. So the reason why they did it that way is because in the Western Conference, there's 4 or 5 teams that are fighting for the 8th spot. And then in the Eastern Conference, it's really just 2 teams fighting for the 8th spot. So that's why it's 9 teams. So there's gonna be they're gonna play 8 regular season games, pretty much, and 7 of those teams are gonna qualify for the playoffs, obviously. So 7 teams from the Eastern Conference, 7 teams from the Western Conference. So there's gonna be 14 teams qualify for the playoffs, and then there's gonna be a small tournament between the 8th and the 9th seed to fight for the 8th spot. And there's gonna be, so for the 8th team to win that spot, they only have to win 1 game. Wow. For the 9th spot team to win the 8th spot, they have to win 2 games. So it's gonna be a 2-game tournament. So if the 9th spot team win both games, they get the 8th spot. If the 8th spot team win one of those games, they just keep the spot. So that's gonna be very interesting. I'm excited for it. The NBA finally voted on it, so that's really great. The plan is for the finals to be to end in October. So if the finals go to a game 7, the last day will be October 12th, which is actually my birthday. So that's kind of exciting.
Ooh, okay, nice. It would be a good birthday.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool. With that as well, so the NBA draft lottery is gonna be August 25th. The NBA draft is gonna be October 15th. And then last thing I want to say is the NBA season for 2021 might start December 1st. So if the season will end in October, we'll have November, and then December the NBA will start back up.
Nah, thank you, man. Well, now that we know what the format of the NBA is going to be like now, how does that affect the Celtics? So, like, what do you think are the Celtics' chances in the playoffs, and how far do you think they go?
So as of right now, we're gonna be facing even after the 8 games, I'm pretty sure we're gonna be facing the Philly. Mm-hmm. And Philly has been a really tough competition this year. One of the things that I remember maybe a couple of months ago when we first started the podcast, we were discussing the playoffs, and one of the things that we're banking on is that we're banking that the Celtics is gonna be at home and the Philly is gonna come to the Celtics. So because of that, Philly not being a good Woodside team, we're banking the Celtics will take that series easily. Mm-hmm. But now that all the teams are well rested, there's gonna be a lot of rust. Everybody's gonna be a little bit rusty. Joel Embiid might get fat, which he has gotten fat in the past, so we don't know exactly how that's gonna go. So I really don't know exactly how far the Celtics are gonna go. But the only thing I want to say is I think because we've had trouble with Philly this year, it's gonna be a tough matchup.
For sure.
I think it's gonna be our first round. We might get. I'm not saying we will. I'm saying there's a high possibility that we might get kicked out of the first round if we play Philly. I'm not predicting. That's not a prediction. It's just statistically and also.
Don't be surprised.
When you look at it, when you look at it, is if we do get kicked off on the first round, which will be sad. I mean, I think we have such a good team, and we haven't been kicked off the first round in like 3-4 years. We've made it
in a while.
We've been we 2-3 years in a row we made it to the Eastern Conference Final. You know what I mean? So I think.
Well, last year we made it to the second round, but before it was the Eastern Conference Finals. Yeah.
So I think it's gonna be a tough playoff series, to be honest. I don't know exactly how far we're gonna go. I think honestly we might get kicked off the first round. I'm not saying we will, but because of I'm gonna have to see what the teams look like in those 8 games that they're gonna play. Those 8 games, I want to see how the Celtics looks. I want to see how Philly looks. I want to see how the Lakers look. I mean, honestly, even if we make it past, Philly, it's still gonna be a tough road ahead. And
absolutely.
It's gonna be interesting to see. Hopefully those guys got better. Hopefully Tatum didn't shoot for a month and a half. Hopefully he's been shooting.
Hopefully he's been getting plenty of shots up since.
Hopefully that didn't affect his shooting. Hopefully Gordon Hayward is better. So we'll see. I mean, I can't really predict it right now. I just think it's gonna be a tough playoff matchup.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely here with you. Same, Vlad. I'm a bit more optimistic as far as the chances for the Celtics to have a deep playoff run. I understand that if they do face a team like the Philadelphia 76ers, it'll definitely be a very tough, hard-fought, and challenging series for them. Mainly because they had, a bunch of issues with Philly during the regular season. They had lost 3 of the 4 matchups with them, and they had trouble with Philly's length and Philly's size. Since they are have a pretty big lineup and in a big rotation as far as the guys that they have on their front court. So. And even at guard with Ben Simmons being a bigger point guard, I think that was giving guys like Kemba Walker some trouble. He was usually struggling against Philly due to their length. So
a lot of turnovers.
Yeah, for sure, he did have quite a bit of turnovers in the 3 games he played against Philly. It was interesting. The last game that they played, he didn't play against Philly, and the Celtics ended up winning at home, and convincingly. Actually, they blew them out that game. I remember. So I still definitely feel good about that matchup. I feel that the Celtics could, definitely win. It'll probably be a long series, like a 6 or 7 game series, to say the least. But. Right, there's also a lot of unknowns, with the teams, and a lot of uncertainty as far as, Philly. We don't know how, Embiid's, gonna be. Is he gonna be in shape? Is he gonna, be consistent? Is he gonna be motivated? Same thing for, Ben Simmons. Is he gonna, be, consistent and then be locked in? Is he, gonna, be a liability, due to the lack of a perimeter shot that he has? So there's certainly, and then also is, Al Horford gonna be a factor because he's had a, pretty bad year. He's had a down year and has shown that he hasn't been a good fit for that team. So is he going to, be a factor and actually, contribute and be productive in that series? I think those are, pretty big questions that, would certainly be, would be answered and would certainly be a big part of that guys not being able to get any shots up, are they going to be able to still play at the same high level that they were, playing before the suspension, or is there going to be a drop off and they're not going to be able to match that, productivity that they were at, before, the suspension of the season happened, and also health too. Can they stay healthy? Because that's been the biggest issue with this team going into the season, is that
for Joel.
Right, for Joel or Philly, but I'm talking in terms of the Celtics.
Yeah.
I know, like you were saying in the previous episode, John, they've only played their top six or seven guys have only played about
8 games
together.
Something like
in the rotation. So they've had a lot of guys in and out of the lineup, and hopefully with this new format, it being a shorter season with only 8 games left in the regular season. Hopefully those guys can be able to stay healthy and be able to stay on the court and play together, because we saw that when they were all healthy, they're a pretty good team and tough for anybody to beat, and then they can play with anybody in the league. So it'll certainly be interesting to see how the team looks when they do come back. Want to see guys, like Ebua, is he gonna be the same player he was at the beginning of the season, or is he gonna continue to decline as he was earlier? Before the when he's before his before he made the all-star team and the all-star break, he was starting to slowly decline in terms of his production and level of play, but that's just he was still trying to get back into the swing of things. So I think that he's certainly an important and a key part of this team, and it's yet to be seen as far as how good he is and how good he can be in the playoffs, because he hasn't played in too many playoff games or big games due to him being in Charlotte and not really going that far in the playoffs due to the lack of talent that they had. So hopefully he can be able to step up and bring and play at a high level and rise to the occasion. And then also Gordon Hayward is, how inconsistent he's been when he's playing well, and when he's good, he's really good. He impacts the game in multiple aspects and in multiple ways. But when he's bad, he's really bad, and sometimes he's too passive, and he's too not aggressive, and you're just invisible on the court. Sometimes you don't even realize that he's there. So
now y'all wanna say it? Nah.
We've said this.
I've been saying it all season.
I know you've
been saying it all season, and now y'all wanna admit it?
No. I've agreed with you on that. I've admitted that at times in certain games he can, be passive and invisible on the court and not be as big of a factor.
Everybody has those games.
No, but he's had a bit too many.
I don't know. I feel like we're on him a lot more, man. There's a lot of players on this team, and I feel like we're on him. I mean, I think it's his contract.
But anyways, I don't know if you're in the conversation away from what we're trying to talk about.
So I've been hearing that they're gonna have, before the 8 regular season games, 2 to 3 exhibition preseason games, to kind of tune up games to get those players ready for the regular season games that they'll be playing. So we'll see how they look in those games and if they can be able to shake off the rust and get back to playing well as a team and then playing at a high level.
Yeah, man. I think you guys have pretty much touched up on a lot of the stuff involving the Celtics, because I don't want to be redundant. I don't want to, repeat a lot of the stuff that you guys are saying. But one thing you guys were talking about was the Philadelphia situation and how we're definitely going to face them. Like, if everything is as is, we're going to face them in the first round. And, obviously everybody's gotten rest. Everybody's gotten a chance to be healthy. We don't know if people are going to come back overweight and all that stuff. That is a factor because, everybody's been home all this time. So, and I don't think I've seen them on any other protests, so we don't know. We don't know if you
besides Jalen Brown.
Yeah.
Jalen Brown, I even saw a couple of Philly players in a protest. Just that they just recently had, and in Philly, you had Tobias Harris and then another.
Yeah, I saw that
players.
too.
Right.
I saw that.
Not Joel Embiid though.
Joel Embiid was not out there.
No. He might be a little too heavy. He might.
Right, exactly.
Problems.
It's facts.
But one thing I did want to touch up on was how bad Philly was on the road last year, and how bad their team chemistry is. And if there's anything, I want to monitor that a little bit, because we've been quarantined, so I don't think they've had a chance to grow any more chemistry than they had when they were on the court. And if you saw Boston, we do have really good chemistry, and we beat some of the top teams this year. Some were close, some we beaten them pretty convincingly. A lot of them
beat
were.
The Lakers convincingly.
You know what I'm saying?
That was one of the best games.
That was awesome. We beat the Mavericks pretty convincingly too.
Absolutely.
So we beat some of the top teams. We beat the Raptors.
And then we went down the wire with the Clippers.
Yes, and we beat the Clippers the second time we played them. Exactly.
So I think we've had a good season. The Celtics have had a good season, and I think they can make it as far as the finals. To be honest with you, I think any team right now, like the Celtics, the Heat, I think it comes down to how strong the chemistry was when they were playing in the first place, and how it remained. And hopefully these guys have been getting together somehow, and that I think it's going to be easier for these guys to get along more just because they've had such a great season this year. And at a certain point, we had 4 guys averaging 20 points a game. So. I think that's huge. I think, they figured out some things with Tice, with him in the middle and defending some of the bigs out there. He's more athletic than a lot of the dudes out there. We might get Time Lord back. Robert Williams.
Yeah, that would be nice.
He was back.
He was on his way back.
Those first 2 weeks in March, he played a couple
He played a couple of games. Right.
He's had some more time to heal up, and I think he could be vital for us, as far as manning the middle and defensively. So I'm looking forward to it. I hope somebody like, what's the young boy's name? The kid, the shooter. What's his name? He's like the shorter guy, right?
Edwards. Carson Edwards. Yeah.
Carson Edwards. Yeah. I hope he found his shot again because we need bench help.
Absolutely.
I thought you were talking about Wanamaker.
Wanamaker, I like Wanamaker, man. He's not bad, dude. I mean, he has the best free throw percentage in the league. So
he does, right?
I would say that,
Even though he doesn't get there often, but it's a pretty good percentage.
He's had enough to be part of that stat. This guy, man.
Vlad just loves rationing coming at the Celtics players.
I think how far do they go? I can't tell you that, but I think they can go as far as the finals. Like, I think in my mind they can make it. I don't see a reason. I wish I could we got the Bucks. We got the Bucks, right? Who's obviously the leader in the Eastern Conference, but they haven't really showed that they can go anywhere in the playoffs. So I don't know. I think we can take them. I don't know if that's me being a homer, but just watching the team this year and watching them compete against some of the top teams in this league and making it a game, and knowing Brad and his adjustments and the things that he does, I think we have as much of a chance as anybody else, to be honest with you.
I'm gonna agree with that. We have a chance as much as everybody else. It's gonna be tough.
Oh, it's gonna be tough. I'm not saying that.
It's gonna be tough.
Of course.
All I'm saying is I can see them go as far as the finals.
Okay.
They do got youth. A lot of our guys were injured. Like Barry was saying, as I mentioned on the other show, they haven't played together much. But when they do play, they haven't really lost much. So I think that's going to be a lot of help. Marcus being back on the bench, leading the second unit.
Right, being the sixth man. Yeah.
Leaving Gordon Hayward in there to handle the ball when he's in there.
Yeah.
I think we can have something really good, and we've seen Jaylen Brown at all the protests, and he looks pretty motivated to do some things. So
I like Jaylen.
I love
like
Jaylen Brown,
JB.
man. Shout outs to him, man, and thank you for using your platform for everything that you do, for everything that's going on. But still going with the Celtics, the main guy we want to see do well in the playoffs is Jason Tatum. And there's been a lot of talks about him being offered the max contract. I believe Danny Ainge said that the Celtics will be willing to do it. And some guys had a couple jokes to make about it, like you got dinners on you now and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. I love Jason Tatum. That kid, he's special. Even though he hasn't done too much in the league yet, he has done enough for you to look at him and know that there's something there. So. Should the Celtics award Tatum the max contract, and is he worth it to you guys?
I think that today's NBA sort of rewards you a little too early. I think that Tatum has a lot of promises. I like Tatum. Last year wasn't as good as this year. Last year he had truly regressed, especially with Kyrie being here and all that stuff. But this year he's gotten a lot better. He's taken some end of the game shots, and he's step up. So I think he's special, and I think he has a lot to offer. I wish you didn't have to give him the max contract this early on, but I think the state of the NBA, the way things are going, if we don't give him the max contract, another team will, and we will regret it. So I think he is gonna get it, and it is gonna be what it is. I think sometimes the max contract can put you on it can be a handicap sometimes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I feel as though one of the things I noticed this year is that Damian Lillard is going to be making $50 million a year for the next couple of years or something. And I'm like, the Portland Blazers will not win a championship in his lifetime if he's making $50 million a year. If you know what I mean? That's like making. I understand people. And listen, I'm not saying the guys shouldn't get paid. The guys should get paid. I'm just saying, I just don't know how you're gonna win a championship if you're making this much. You know what I mean? But anyways, to regress, I think
the Warriors made it work. Sorry to interrupt you.
But didn't KD take a little bit of a pay cut or whatever?
He did, but Steph and Clay, they still got their money. They weren't making. He was still making like the supermax contract. Like
it wasn't $40 million or whatever yet.
Steph got $40 million.
Yeah, Steph, and then after that, what's his name?
Klay Thompson.
Klay Thompson got his afterwards. You know what I mean? So in the midst of them winning the championship, they weren't all making the max yet.
Okay,
so I'm not saying it's not possible. I just think it makes it hard. So I think he is gonna get it. I think he is worth it. I think he shows a lot of promises. I just wish we could have waited for him to show a lot more before we award.
Like maybe another year or so.
Yeah, but I think if we don't give it to him, some other team is gonna give it to him, and we're gonna regret it. So we have to give it to him.
Well, let me say this now. I definitely hear what you're saying, Vlad, but an interesting way of looking at it, as I've recently, ever since I heard about these reports, have looked at it, is look at what happened to Jaylen Brown this past season.
Yeah.
He got his 4-year extension. They gave him about $100 100, mil itself, a little bit over that, I believe.
114, I think.
Yeah, about 114, 115, with the incentives included. And a lot of people were questioning, okay, he's shown that, he's a promising player, has potential, but he, again, like Tatum, didn't really play as well last year as he did the previous year. So they were really thinking, is he really worth the contract? And as we all know now looking back at that deal was kind of a steal.
Yeah.
Because this guy has had a great year and has balled out and has been one of the better players for the Celtics this year. So now we know he was, without question, absolutely worth every penny of that money. And I look at that situation and kind of see it being similar to, what Jason Tatum is going through. And particularly now, since Jason Tatum, before the suspension of the season, was playing at an extremely high level and was starting to be a superstar in the making and one of the better young players in the league. Like he was giving everybody buckets and really taking his game to another level. So I definitely think, without question, he's worth a max deal and is a max player, and definitely has proven enough, even though he's obviously can still do more and still needs to do more in order for him for all of us to say, oh yeah, he's definitely without a doubt a max player. But I definitely think he's on his way in that of to getting that max contract, and he'll, without question, Danny Ainge and the Celtics will definitely give that to him after this season, and he'll certainly be with us for the years to come, and they'll definitely make sure that he they take care of him and that he gets paid, and he'll be he'll be the future face of this franchise, without a question. So
I think he's definitely worth the contract, and I totally agree with Barry for the point that he's making, and I don't know if Tatum wants the contract right now anyway, you know what I'm saying? If I was him, I might not even do it, because he might be a bargain, come 2-3 years. He might be like on, Scottie Pippen status as far as like the bargaining agreement and how much the contract are going to be rising up in the next couple of years. So I definitely think he's worth it. I think he's one of those players that you can see that he really wants to be great. He wants to have that pressure, and he said it many times, he wants to be like those guys that he always looked up to, where he's going to come in and have 30 points and 10, 12 rebounds a game, you know what I'm saying, and be, on the defensive side of the court. Even Greg Popovich is saying, hey, this kid has the chance to be one of the best two-way players in the league. And if you know anything about basketball, when Popovich speaks, he's not just saying that shit just to like big you up. He doesn't do that for anybody.
He doesn't give praise to too many people.
Not
like
even
that.
Tim Duncan. He's not going to do that. So
Facts,
for him to say stuff like that, I think that can tell you right there. Jason Tatum. He's the real deal. And even though I didn't like that he didn't take any shots for like a month and a half, whatever it was during the quarantine, I hope he's gotten back in the bag and his craft and gotten in the gym, because we're gonna need him for the playoffs for sure this year.
Without question.
But I think he's the face of the franchise right now. Without question. Like, even though we have Kemba Walker and Jaylen Brown, I think those guys are definitely close. But I think everybody this year has realized, this is Tatum's team. The guy is moving dudes out, to take the last shot.
Right, exactly.
If you're not the leader of the team, you can't do that.
Facts, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? We've seen maybe Marcus Smart tried to do that, but that's when the bench players are on the court. You know
when the second unit's
exactly.
there, fact.
You know,
not when the starters on the court. No.
When the game's on the line, the fact that the Celtics are looking for Tatum tells you something, and he's only, what, 21?
22, just
22
turned
now.
22.
He just turned 22, so I'm definitely looking forward to see him for a long time, and I hope he turns out to be what we all thought. You know, I've been watching him ever since the pre-draft workouts. You know, and I did a lot of homework on him and Markelle Fultz.
Yeah.
I really liked Markelle Fultz at the time, but I didn't like the fact that he wasn't taking certain practices and stuff like that. And I didn't like the fact that Danny Ainge said, yo, anybody can look good against a chair. And I'm like, that doesn't seem like, you know, a guy he's going to pick, you know. So and then I started watching Jason Tatum, like his workouts on other teams, and him. I think when he came here, he had like 90. He took like 100 3-pointers and scored like 90 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was like, yo.
Wow, that's impressive.
And
right?
then if you seen him,
can shoot.
If you seen him in the summer league that year, it's like
he lit it up.
Those mid-range shots, dude. Even though that's not the shots you want to take in the league, you know, just anybody can do that stuff. You know,
right?
I don't care how good of a basketball player you like that Kobe Bryant, you know, footwork type of stuff. You don't see that in all the players. So I definitely think he's worth it, and you know, we'll see where he takes us, and hopefully he takes us to. Hopefully he brings us 6 championships. Fuck it.
Right. I hope so. Right. We needed a dynasty for the Celtics.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Be on the Jordan status.
Facts. Exactly.
Hopefully he's, you know, challenging for the greatest of all time or something like that.
I do think the Celtics brain has lost some of its value because we haven't won as many championships lately. Like the Lakers have been winning a lot of championships. You know, they won 5 in the last decades. You know what I mean? And I feel like the Celtics only won 1, and also like all the other ones that we won were like so long ago. So I'm looking forward to an era of like multiple championships.
Celtics.
I am more dominance in the league.
I am looking forward to that.
Facts, man.
Right, and I think we can have it with these young core players that we currently do have on the roster. So I like where the team's heading in that they've locked up, you know, the core guys that are going to be on the team for a while. So I'm glad that they're taking care of them now for sure.
That would be beautiful.
Nah, that would be great.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, for more, I mean, thank you guys for your thoughts on the Celtics, and I think you guys had a lot of valid points to make as far as, you know, their outlook for the season. And like we said, man, hopefully they're working as hard as possible to bring us a chip, man. That would be nice this year for Boston to get that, since we lost Tom Brady, you know.
Right. And we lost Mookie Betts too.
Right. In other NBA news, and in relation to Black Lives Matter, the Jordan brand will be donating $100 million over the next 10 years to combat racism. Say what you want about Micheal Jordan, you know, he's had a lot of backlash from, you know, the fact that he wasn't into politics much, and, you know, he kind of stayed out of it. He got a lot of backlash because he's a black man, and, you know, we expect a lot of those guys to be speaking up for our people and for our causes, you know, because they do have the big platforms, and he wasn't somebody that was too open to doing that. And, you know, for him to be doing something like that, I think that says a lot about him. I think maybe on another podcast we can discuss, you know, the outlook on Jordan and what this means, you know, as far as the things that he's been doing lately, because, you know, this is not the first time we've seen him donating a lot of money to causes recently. Maybe we can talk about his legacy as far as, you know, him versus the other guys, you know, the things that he's lacking and things like that.
Yeah.
But I thought that was huge, you know. So maybe on another podcast we can focus on that a little bit. But let's actually move on, because, you know, we've been at it for a while now. So I know some stuff is going on in the NHL, but more importantly, one of our Bruins actually issued a statement, and he's the top guy and he's the top guy on the team, and he's been that top guy for a long time.
Bergeon.
Bergie. Yes,
yeah,
yes.
man. Us black
Patrice,
people,
my
all
guy.
black people know about Patrice Bergeon out here too. So don't get it twisted.
Oh yeah, for sure. I've known about him for a while.
For a long time. So don't think you don't got black fans out here, because you do.
Right, facts.
He made a statement which I thought was huge for him. I thought was huge for the Bruins. I thought was huge for hockey, period. And I've seen a lot of, because hockey has had a lot of racial issues, and it still does, because a lot of the black players are talking about it.
It's definitely mainly a white sport, so
yeah,
it's facts, exactly.
And it's just huge for him to come out and just gonna read what he wrote today and
this is only part of what he wrote.
Okay, this is part of what he wrote today, and going forward, I want to listen, educate myself, and stand up for the black community. We cannot change the past, but we certainly can change the future. It is time to truly acknowledge this cry for help. It needs to be more than a simple Instagram post. Let's take real action with an open heart and compassion. I am determined to be an ally, continue to grow myself, and raise my children to be anti-racist. In addition to my words, my family and I are donating $25,000 to the Boston branch of the NAACP and $25,000. NAACP, and $25,000 to the Central Multi-Technique de Quebec. Multi-ethnic? Yeah. I've never seen that before. That's awesome though. Shout outs to him, just shout outs to all the hockey guys that are saying anything, because that's just huge. They have mainly a white audience, and for them to come out, some of the top stars to say things, it's huge.
I'm glad Patrice didn't pull a Drew Brees or something.
Ooh, can you imagine? How is it a hockey player, in a sport that still faces a lot of that stuff right now? Not saying the NFL doesn't face that stuff, but hockey, that stuff is pretty prevalent because it is mainly a white sport, and still the black players talk about the discriminations they face in the league till this day. For a dude in the NHL to get it first, and Drew Brees doesn't.
Right.
You know what? I'm not even gonna get into it, but
that should be ashamed. Right. That's astonishing. Yeah, unbelievable.
One thing I don't think we're gonna have time to talk about it on this podcast, but we should definitely make time to talk about it sometime soon.
Yeah.
Boston sports fan and the races.
You know what? Let's do that next week, actually.
Yeah, and the racism.
I did post about it.
We should discuss that next podcast.
I don't know if you guys saw the Torrey Hunter thing. He had a no trade to Boston Red Sox.
I saw that.
I seen that. Yeah.
If you guys don't understand how problematic that is, he said he's been called the N-word over 100 times. And not saying that we don't use the N-word here, but we try to refrain.
That's totally
different. We refrain from using that word, on our show, just because we are black men and we want to raise ourselves to the utmost high.
I actually don't have an issue with black people using that word.
I don't either.
But white people using that word they're using it to call you names. They're using it to belittle you. They're using it not in the way that John is my nigga. That's not the way they're using it.
Right. They use it to degrade us, to put it down.
But anyways, the point is we will talk about Boston sports fan and their racism.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. We'll definitely address that real soon.
And just cover all the stories that just come out on a yearly basis. It seems like every year another player is saying something, about the mistreatment they've gotten from Boston, which is very disappointing.
And also the way the Patriots fan reacted the day that Jason McCourty and
Devin McCourty
and the tight end. What's the tight end's name? Martellus Bennett. They put their fist up. And I heard there was a lot of Patriot fans in the stand that were saying a lot of really nasty words because they were doing that. So anyways, we're not going to go deep into it, but next podcast we should definitely talk about that.
Oh yeah, without a doubt, for question. And just wanted to give a quick shout out to Big Z at the NHR as well.
He
was out there protesting and marching, with the people on Brookline this week on protesting, and I think he also came out with a statement, pretty much, saying that he's against racism and police brutality, and that and Black Lives Matter, and he's gonna do a lot more to help raise awareness and to change that in the near future. So I just wanted to mention him as well, and give him a shout out for doing what he has this week.
Yeah, shout outs to the hockey guys, man. Just keep doing it, keep raising your voices, and try to clean up your sports. Most of all, man, like you guys have to play, and if you guys don't want to keep hearing about this stuff, it's up to you guys to to make sure that this stuff is not happening.
Yeah.
Stand up for your teammates.
And make sure you call out your other white teammates.
For real.
Right.
Even behind closed doors, when you're having those private conversations, if somebody has a weird view on certain things, explain to them.
Call them
like
out.
call them out. Don't
Right.
wait. Don't try to exclude yourself from that person. Educate them. Make sure they know why.
Right.
They shouldn't be thinking that way, because it's contagious and dangerous to our society, and we want to eradicate that shit as quick as possible. Like T.I. says, expeditiously, my nigga. For real.
Big facts on that, no doubt.
Yeah, man. So on to the MLB, because that was it for us with the hockey. What the hell is going on with the freaking MLB, man?
Yeah.
MLB and the Players Association is at it again, dude. They supposedly came to an agreement last week, but they are at it again because they're back at the table.
Yeah, they're back at the table. They're still trying to figure out exactly how they want the season to start. And also, their argument is not about format. It's not about how we gonna set this up. It's about money.
It's about money.
It's about how much money the owners are gonna make. It's about how much money the players are gonna make. Really, what I think is gonna happen is that there might be another lockout in the MLB, which they had a lockout.
MLB's canceled, bro. Nobody's gonna watch that shit again.
They had a lockout in the 90s, and it affected them greatly. And right now, I think the owners really want the players to take a pay cut. They're trying to push the players around, and I think it's just affecting the sports more than anything. I think all those disagreements that they're having in the public eye, it's really just pushing people away from their sports.
Facts.
And I think we talk about that on multiple episodes
extensively
about how MLB is losing people. I've never been that big of a baseball fan, but baseball is also not doing anything to attract me.
Yeah, exactly.
I am now a sports podcast host, and if the MLB was doing something to attract me as a podcast host, I would go watch so I can talk about it on the podcast. They're not doing anything to do so, and I think not only that they're losing young fans, they're using fans that grew up watching baseball as well. So I think MLB is in a really, really bad place right now.
Yeah,
MLB, that's straight backs. Absolutely.
Wake the fuck up, okay?
Seriously,
you losing young people. And you guys are not appealing to minority people. I love going to the Red Sox, the Fenway and shit like that.
Me too.
But it's not because, I love the Red Sox. Like, oh my God. Like, I'm not watching the Red Sox 24/7, Go take a game in because it's for the experience. It's for Fenway, the oldest park in the freaking world or whatever.
Yeah, it is the oldest ballpark in the league. Yeah.
You go take that experience in, and it's great. But as far as the engagement with the MLB, it's not there. I have a lot of MLB what do you call that stuff? Merchandise in my house right now. You guys see it.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? It's not like I like baseball, but it's like you said, man. They're not doing much to keep my eyes glued to the TV, and this type of shit is what's gonna keep them down.
Right, facts. It's a big turnoff, no doubt.
Quick thing I want to say is I listen to the Felger and Man Show. Shout out to the Felger and Man Show.
Yeah, definitely. Love that show.
They were doing a quick exercise, and Felger was naming some of the top MLB players, like some of the the guy that hit the most home run last year, the guy that had the best pitches last year, or whatever. And even Maz was he's like a well-known.
He's a baseball guy.
He's a big baseball guy.
Even some of the top names, he didn't even recognize them.
It's crazy.
Wow.
So that just tells you the level of involvement that even the people that are really into baseball are like. None of the big name players, nobody knows who they are. None of the best players, nobody knows who they are. So MLB is in a really bad spot. It's not my fight to fight, but they need to do something.
Facts.
For sure, no doubt.
I like Felger and Maz, but they be hanging up the phone on people too quick. Y'all gotta chill the fuck out.
Sometimes they can be assholes, right?
Y'all need to have some black people on the show too, man. And if
sure.
y'all want some black people's perspectives, man, we're all open. Barry, myself, and I, we're ready to come.
One of the reasons why I wanted to be part of a sports podcast is because the radio shows that I listen to in Boston
don't cater to us.
None of them have one black person.
Nope,
they don't.
Well, Wiggy's on one.
He's on the other side, which
Who's that? WEI.
WEI,
okay.
And I don't like WEI, but
I don't really listen to WEI.
98.5 don't have one black guy that I can relate to. Not even in the production team, you know what I mean?
I think they have one black guy at like 4 a.m. I was up listening to dude.
What?
I swear, he's like the way he was talking. I'm like, oh, that's a brother. You know what I mean? I'm like, no, that's definitely a brother.
But he's not on the time that people need to listen to. You know what I mean?
Yo, we're gonna tweet this shit to Felger and Maz this week. Like I wanna tweet this fucking segment.
We should. I agree.
Let's start do that.
No, we're gonna clip that right there and send it to Felger and Maz because we want to go on that show and make sure they get a piece of our mind and make sure they know what's really going on, how we feel, because we've been covering a lot of that stuff, and I feel like they need different voices on their platform. But other than that, we really love Felger and Maz. So shout out to them guys, man, and keep doing it.
Right. And real quick, just wanted to mention Jermaine Wiggins used to be on that show for a while. Even was a weekly guest and had his own segment.
And I really like that segment.
Yes, I did.
I really like that segment.
Right, me too. I loved him being on the show and having his own segment for sure every week. And Chris Gasper, I don't know if you guys know who that is. He also on that show every Friday as well. So at least they do have a couple of people, minorities that have been guests on the show. I'm so
glad you brought that up because those are. Whenever Chris Gasper comes in, he comes in at 4 o'clock on Fridays. I make sure to tune in.
Yes, definitely me too.
When Wiggy used to come in, he used to come in on Tuesday, and I used to make sure I tune in. In my mind, I didn't even think about it because they're black. I just really like those guys because I just like their perspective.
Right, that just shows you. Guest on the show.
That just shows you.
Right. A lot of the issues, like they would represent, like our side.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, bro, you can't just. This is what's going on right now in the country. You can't just have this one mindset, like on one side, bro. It's like there's opinions everywhere, and you gotta cater to everybody. Even though we still listen to them, we just like to see, some more people that appeal to us.
Exactly.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Exactly.
But lastly, we do have soccer we wanted to talk about, and we got our soccer guy. So Vlad, let us know what's going on.
Cool. So this week, a lot of teams around the world have been taking a knee in support of the protest that's been going on. I was watching a Bundesliga game yesterday, and the guys had bands around their arm that says Black Lives Matter. Mm-hmm. And I think, to me, it's very important. There's a difference between coming out and saying, I'm against racism, versus Black Lives Matter.
Facts.
Everybody's always gonna say they're anti-racism. They're against racism. Like any company is gonna come out and say they're against racism. That's just like you cannot come out and say you're for racism. Like if you know what I mean. So for you to come out and say you're against racism, that's a given. Mm-hmm. You're gonna even if you're racist, you're gonna come out and say you're you're
not for that. You're anti-racist. You're not going to put it on blast.
But it takes bravery. It takes courage to say Black Lives Matter because it's a very controversial sentence, and not a lot of people have the courage to say that. So when I see a white person come out and say Black Lives Matter, I
respect that.
I really respect that. So the fact that the teams in Germany had that band on their arms saying Black Lives Matter, I really respected that.
That's great. Wow.
And also a lot of teams doing practice were taking a knee in support of Black Lives Matter. So that was great. Anyways, I want to move on to the MLS. The MLS and the Players Association came together and they agreed on a new CBA through 2025.
Awesome.
That's great.
It's great, but I don't know. The players in the MLS, some of the players in the MLS are making less than $60,000 a year.
That's another league that needs to do a better job engaging people.
Oh, for sure.
And they need to get some better talent as well.
For sure.
Then that will help grow the league and attract more people. Right.
Robert Kraft, you got the money, bro. Okay.
Pay those guys.
Pay those fucking guys.
Or if you don't want to pay those guys because they're not good enough,
bring some
then
people
find
in.
better guys.
Exactly. Bring more international guys.
I'm a big soccer fan, and the MLS is the last league I would watch.
MLS is trash, bro.
You know what I mean? Like
it's garbage.
There has to be nothing else going on for me to watch the MLS.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Like I've been to a few Revolution games as well, and they're a good time. And that's because the tickets were either free or they were
No. I'm just surprised you actually went.
I've been talking.
No, that's good. I want to go. You know.
What? I was just gonna say when the season resumes, we can set that up, and and we'll all go.
If they have fans.
Right. If they even do allow fans, but one day it will probably be the following season.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say I like going to those games. They were a good time. I was even in the section where they call the fort. I don't know if you heard about the fort. That's like where the season ticket holders are and like their bands and stuff. Where they all drumming and waving the flags and all that.
Okay. Yeah.
So that was a pretty cool experience and a lot of fun doing that. But I was just gonna say just the lack of talent and the in the play, the actual product on the field, you could see, like to me watching those games, it was evident that this thing is trash compared to all the other international soccer leagues that really have the top players in the world playing for them. That it's night and day for sure. So I just wanted to point that out and mention that.
So they agreed on the new CBA. They almost went into a lockout. So the owners really pushed the players. The players really don't have that much of a say. They don't have that much power. Like I think the only league that the players have a lot of power is really MLB. The players have a lot of power, and the NBA. The players have the utmost power.
Facts.
But a league like the MLS, the players don't have that much power. So if the owners were pushing toward a lockout, they would have agreed immediately. You know what I mean? I mean, it took them a while to agree, but anyways, they agreed on it. The other thing they agreed on is that they're coming back in July with a World Cup-like tournament in Orlando.
Ooh.
They haven't announced.
Nice.
I like it.
They haven't announced the dates. They haven't announced the format yet, but they've agreed on something, and I think they're still working on the details. So that should come out this week or something like that. So
okay.
We'll keep you guys updated on that.
Yeah, man. Thank you, Vlad. I appreciate that, man. You always do your homework on
thanks for that,
stuff, and if you're a soccer fan, man, you can definitely trust our show to give you what the hell's going down with the soccer world, because Vlad got it like that.
And Vlad's always on top of it.
Hit me up if there's something that you want me to
No, facts. If you have questions, man, send us questions about the soccer.
Right. Hey, email us or hit us up on social media. Right.
In there.
Facts.
And last but not least, we've come to that part of the show where we do the B Money Lifestyle Person of the Week. So let's turn it over to Barry, man. What's up? Who's that?
So the Big Money Lifestyle Person of the Week, I actually had two people that I wanted to nominate for this award this week that I feel like are, deserving. So the first person I wanted to nominate was Micheal Jordan. As you previously said earlier in the show, he decided to donate $100 million to, and to combat racism. So that was a great and awesome thing that he really did. And I'm certainly, glad and appreciate that he did that. That is definitely a big time difference that we need for, guys like him to be able to make, especially since he didn't really do that much during his playing career as far as like giving, money away to help, society, to better the society and help the issues that were going on during, his time. So it's good to see him be able to give back to the, society and to the, black community in that way. The second person who I wanted to nominate for this award is Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
So I feel like he was definitely deserving as well, because he actually ended up paying the whole funeral for, the late George Floyd, who, obviously just recently passed away a couple of weeks ago. So that was definitely really, thoughtful and really, nice and generous of him to do that. And, goes to show that he is a really good person and that he has good character, even though it may not seem that way, because I know he does some questionable and controversial things off the boxing ring, but that was certainly a really great thing that he did to be able to help that family and to cover the expenses of the funeral and make sure that it was taken care of from a financial standpoint. So definitely big shout outs to Floyd Mayweather on that. And then an honorable mention that I wanted to do was, believe it or not, Kanye West. Even though I'm not the biggest Kanye fan and don't really like the guy, but he definitely did a really good thing this week that stood out to me, and he actually offered to pay his one of George Floyd's daughters. He paid their college tuition for her.
He set up a $2 million fund for her college tuition.
Oh, right. That's what it was. Thank you, I appreciate that. So,
And I don't appreciate you calling out Kanye. That's my nigga.
I don't know, don't get me wrong. He's a really good artist, and and makes good music, but he's just not the best person in many more ways than one. Bergeon has done his fair share of questionable and controversial things as Floyd Mayweather, but nonetheless, he was definitely deserving of an honorable mention this week, and I thought that was an extremely generous and nice gesture of him to be able to do that to help his daughter, his future, and help that family, and help hope and help his daughter in case if she wants to go to college.
I think those are definitely three deserving people that you mentioned, and shout out to them, man, and doing the right things. And that's gonna be it for this week, man. If you're still listening, thank you so much for the support. Just keep sharing our stuff with your friends, with your neighbors, whoever, man. If you like our perspectives on a lot of things, again, follow us on all social media. You can find us Pro Fan Sports. You just write that in there, you can find us. So until next episode, man, have a good week. Be safe, and Black Lives Matter. Keep protesting. Keep doing your thing. And if you need to talk, you can email us, man. We'll be here for you. All right, fellas?
All right. Peace
All right,
out.
guys. Good show. Peace. Have a good week.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for watching this video. If you like Pro Fan Sports podcast videos, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps us out greatly.
New episode will be dropping every Wednesday morning. Clips will be dropping every Wednesday afternoon. Click on the bell button for notifications on all our new videos. Thank you.